it's Jane here, the Cornish Knitter. Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me. Those of you that have stuck it out since the beginning, thank you very much. And I should probably say at the very beginning, if you like the content or you want to see more, please like and subscribe and comment, because I really want to hear back from you, some sort of feedback, but also just hear what you're up to, because it's great that we're creating this lovely community of knitters. So my podcast or vlog is about my knitting journey. I have knitted most of my life, so I wanted to share what I'm doing knitting wise, a little bit of crochet sometimes and a little bit of sewing as well, sort of embroidery sewing and hand sewing more than dressmaking, but predominantly it's a knitting vlog. I do own a yarn shop with my sister, and on my last vlog I did ask people whether they'd like to see a little bit of the yarn shop. I know a number of you have sort of talked about the background might be quite pale in my previous vlogs, but today I've got the wall of wool behind me, and as you can see it's an explosion of colour, and hopefully it will lift my colour a little bit as well. So this is what my vlog's about. I've included a little bit of content today with my sister, Sandra, who is a co-owner of the shop. We just talk a little bit about the shop, where it came from, what we're about, and I also have just done a very quick whistle-stop tour around the shop, so you can see, excuse the motorbikes going past, we are on the high street, just so that you can see what type of yarns we stock and what sort of type of accessories and things. I haven't gone into detail about what those yarns are. I have got a few of our best-selling ones which I will show you and sort of talk about what we use them for, what people tend to use them for. But if that's something you are interested in the future, just let me know in the comments below. Write in the comments below, and yeah, I can include some of that sometimes. Won't always do it from the shop, but I hope you like it today and it gives you a sort of insight into what we're doing. I probably wanted to say as well, so many of you have commented. Last vlog I sort of did ask what content you would like to see. So many of you commented, and I only realized today that when I went into YouTube Studio, which I'd never been into before, I said I'm a bit of a technophobe. I am learning, I promise. But I did go into YouTube Studio and I found a whole host of comments that I'd not seen, and please don't think I'm rude by not remarking or commenting or thanking you, because it's genuinely the first time I'd seen them, going back for the last 3 videos that we've put up. So I have started to go through them and come back to you. As I say, you know, I really do appreciate people taking the time out of their day to comment and like and subscribe. So I do want to make sure that I respond to that. So if I haven't, deep apologies for me. It's just because I wasn't aware that they were there. YouTube's funny, it sends up messages that you've got a comment and you can go, but there seems to be nearly 100, I think, when I went on and looked, that had never popped up in my emails to say that I had a comment. So forgive me. I do endeavour to come back to people that have taken the time to comment and remark. And the shop was probably one of the most popular sort of things that people wanted content on. Bits of Cornwall. I live in Cornwall here in England, in the UK, which is a seaside town at the far southwest of the UK. So I have in the last couple included a little bit of content about places in Cornwall that I like to visit. Later in this video I have included a little bit about a very windy visit to Tintagel. Tintagel is on the north coast of Cornwall. It's famous for King Arthur and Merlin, and its towering cliffs and raging sea. So it was an exceedingly windy day. So I don't talk through it. I might do a little bit of a voiceover, but hopefully you'll really enjoy the scenery. And each time I will try and take you to different places and show you around my hometown a little bit as well of Falmouth. Some of the other sort of suggestions that people made were a knit along. Yeah, I'd love to do a knit along. Anything that people would like to do a knit along for or with, maybe a shawl or a sweater, I would be really up for that if people are up for it, so do let me know. And also quite a few people suggested that I do like a knit and natter, which, yeah, I can talk and knit at the same time. Love it. So yeah, I'm going to put some of that content up, and I may sort of do some sort of shorts videos with little tutorial bits just from what I've experienced and listening to what our customers, sort of some of the challenges our customers sort of say they have. So I might create some little shorts, so you will start to see more and more content on this channel. I hope you like it. So just thought I'd bring you into the shop. I'm going to look a little bit more in depth at some of our most popular yarns, and in future vlogs I will pull out more of what we've got in store. But as you can see, here is our wonderful wall of wool, just part of our selection. It's one of the things people notice when they walk down the shop. One of our best purchases was our electric wool winder. For those of you that have ever sat and wound by hand, you'll know how useful that's been, particularly when we've got lots of customers looking for us to wind their skeins into balls of yarn. See customers walking past at the moment. I've just raided the window for some of our samples just to show you. There's a love note, and I think that's the Silly Slipover by Petite Knits. We also over here have got the festival dress. Probably against the lights you can't see it very well, which is a petite knit. Centre is all our storage. You can see our table. This is a cutting table for fabric, but also our main table. You can see it's covered with all sorts of stuff ready for me to do my YouTube video. Here's my Juno scarf or shawl that you saw last time, which is in the shop to help people sort of begin to think about what they might knit. We've also, when we opened, we purchased a sofa, and that's been one of our best investments, because people do love to come and sit and chat and knit, and we want to make them feel welcome. But also if they've got somebody waiting for them, like their other half, or it's a really good place for them to sit and wait. I'm not going to go through all the yarns as I said, but here we start off with our lace weight and our 4-ply. So ranging from, as I said, we have a lot of British yarns, all natural fibres. So we've got John Arbon, we've got Garthnor, we've got Telling Yarns, Sakami, which is a very popular indie dyer based up in Scotland. One of our best sellers is Sophie from Pixie Yarns. And we have Blacker Yarns, which are a Cornish brand here, spun here in Cornwall, dyed here in Cornwall. And Devonia, which is, some of you will recognise Devonia, which is a John Arbon, which is Devon based. And I'll show you those in more detail at another time. Our most popular yarn is a lady called Hannah from the Camels yarn. She was based here in Cornwall. She's been with us really since the start of our business and her business. And I don't think there's a day goes by that we don't sell some of Hannah's yarn. So we're always restocking. We've also got some lovely fluff here from Hannah. Onto our double knits. John Arbon again, Mrs. Moon, which is a British supplier. Raw Wool Company, I will tell you more about Raw Wool Company at another time, but I part own Raw Wool Company, and we work with Cornish farmers to produce wool from their fleeces in the colour that the sheep intended. And then coming down, probably one of our most popular yarns is the Fibre Company Arranmore Light, which is a double knit and contains some silk, and it's a very popular yarn. John Arbon, as I said, and then the Fibre Company Law, which is a really sticky sort of knit, great for colour work. West Yorkshire Spinners, which is quite a popular British brand. We have quite a wide range of their their yarns. This is all double knit. Luma, which is a fibre company, which is a blend of cotton and, let me see, can't remember what else. Cotton, linen, merino wool and silk. And then some of our natural dyers and Arranmore and West Green loft yarns at the top. Over to this wall, Toft crochet kits, probably one of our most popular kits that we sell. And then we've got a range of other double knits, wool decanted, herd, West Yorkshire spinners, and again blacker yarns. It's a whole wide range here. As you can see, we've got things dotted all over the place. Some of our samples, this little sweater here, and this yarn is Pasquale Natural, and it is the balayage yarn, which is an alpaca yarn, and that little sweater, one of the samples is Matilda by Along Avec Anna, which is a beautiful little girly sweater. This, the cardigan, I think it's the Nash Sharton cardigan, which is knit up in West Yorkshire Spinners Elements, exquisite yarn. Really underrated yarn, and these are just some of the kits we've got. Onto our 4-ply, which is all in here. A whole wide range. This is new in. We need to do some more promotion. I've got it's by Camels, and it's called, I'm not even going to pronounce that. I'll let you have a go at pronouncing it. It's a cotton blend with merino, great for summer knits. Amble, which is my favourite sock yarn, probably from the Fibre company. And then here is some of our Aran section. Snefnug is probably our most popular winter yarn, and then we have a range of others. Not such a big stock of that at the moment, because obviously as we move into summer we don't have quite as much in stock. Our lovely cabinet, which is probably one of the first things that we bought. It's an old-fashioned haberdashery cabinet. In there we've got our Korea Deluxe yarn, both cotton, mohair and 4-ply. We still have our screen up from COVID, but I think we're going to keep it. And then we do a wide range of sort of textile fibre related kits from Toft, Emily Peacock, the Modern Crafter, which is punch needle, some crochet mandalas from a local producer called Pineapple Fibre Art, Annie Morris embroidery, and Corinne Lapierre felt kits, which are really popular. We've always got something on display here. Again, I've nicked something from that, which I'll show you later. Our fabric is sort of up this end. We have our needle range, and then onto some more sort of embroidery pieces. So cinnamon stitching, these kits are really popular with our customers. And then we have all of our books. So this is crochet, and these are our knitting books. This book is new in the last week or so. This is a fairly new book in 52 weeks of easy knits. If we go down here, that Salt and Timber has got some lovely patterns in it. Some books are really good, pattern books are really good for buying. Others you sort of look at and you think, oh, I only like one pattern in there. So we try and get the books that we think that you're going to like lots of the patterns, and the Kate Davis books certainly fall within that category. And the rest of the shop really is given over to fabric, and so we've got some of our fabric here and some of our fabrics over here. I'm trying not to capture Nick at the back, who's working away on the computer. So yeah, that's a whistle-stop tour of our little shop. So I hope you liked that. If you've got any questions about any of the yarns specifically, but as I said, I will cover sort of more in other vlogs when I do them, but I just thought I'd give you a very quick tour of what we've got in the shop.
Hello, good morning.
We're the sisters, as many of you know me. But Sandra, would you like to?
Oh yeah, I'm Sandra. I'm the other half here
Of Stitches and Cream.
of Stitches and Cream. I'm the sewer, so I tend to do more of the sewing projects. And yeah, Jane and I set up this business maybe what, four and a half.
28. I've just had to do something where I had to
Four
put
and a
on
half
it.
years ago.
Yeah,
and
August 2018.
oh, there you go.
Registered business.
And it just has flown by, hasn't it? We've had to move shops during the process because we needed to expand because everything got a little bit more hectic. But yeah, no, we feel like it's taken off really well. We've always sort of been mindful of keep moving on, keep updating, which is always a must in this business. And our online has picked up, and yeah, we're doing okay. And we survived COVID, which was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we started the shop sort of in a really fluky way.
Sat and had a coffee. And
we were sitting having a coffee in Sandra's dining room, I think it was, just catching up generally. And I was at the point of leaving my job in London, and Sandra was sort of just scouting around, really just thinking about what she would like to do. And we talked about Sandra's husband Syed sort of said to her that, oh, you should have always gone into sort of a shop or retail. It sort of would have suited you and you'd have enjoyed it, particularly around your sewing. And we were just chatting, and I said, well, funny enough, I'm leaving London, and I'm going to really miss the yarn shops that I have access to up there.
Because they have amazing ones up there.
Yeah, and I just said, there's nothing like that down here, and I'm really going to miss it. And so I'd just been thinking about it, and I just secured a domain name. And she sort of said, what's that then? And I sort of said, oh, well, it's Stitches and Cream. I said, just on the off chance. And that sort of set the hairs running, really.
And then I was out scouting for shops, found a little shop in the high street, which is perfect for what we wanted.
Little haunted shop.
Yeah, it was haunted, which was awful. But actually, it gave us a really good start. It sort of got us off the ground. Jane was still working, so I was sort of just in the shop initially. And it was a quirky little shop, funny little place. And very haunted. Poor Jane encountered a ghost one night.
I'm not really spiritually minded.
No,
like
but
that.
she did encounter a ghost. It was not
yeah,
nice.
I was there late after a workshop, just clearing up, and it was downstairs. And yeah.
Anyway,
completely spooked
that
me.
wasn't the reason we moved.
I didn't tell you until we'd moved.
No, we would have moved quicker. I'd know.
She wouldn't have set foot in the shop on her own again ever.
But we were very lucky because this shop came along. This is a lot bigger than what we had before, and it's also in the high street, sort of just slightly further up, which our little high street is really quirky, and there's lots of lovely businesses around us. So we were very lucky to get hold of the shop via a family member that was actually in the shop doing something else, and they were moving on to do something else.
So we snaffled
it. We were like, yes, let's go for that, and it's been perfect really for us. It's a perfect space.
We started off really sort of 50-50 fabric and yarn,
but we've whittled the fabrics down because we have felt that it's better to have some really beautiful fabrics, and fabrics are quite expensive for people to buy to make things, but it's much nicer to have some really good linens, some really good quality jerseys that are Oak-Tex and that type of quality, rather than masses and masses of stuff.
Yeah, sort of curated.
Much more selected fabrics, which seems to be working well. We're actually whittling down some of the ones we don't really feel have moved. There are some beautiful viscose tencel type fabrics, and we've had like a Tella Brunette, and we've had Lady McElroy, and we still may purchase some of those.
Some Merchant and Mills linen, which we
love Merchant and Mills stuff. So yeah, we're just having a bit of a change around because the trouble with wool. Not the trouble with wool, but the trouble with wool is you need rather a lot of it, and it also tends to like explode. If you're buying in different groups of things, you've got to have a lot of stock. And the one thing the shop doesn't have is huge amounts of stock room, does it?
No,
we have small
we've got
spaces.
Floor space, but we don't have storage space.
So we have to sort of
everything we've
accommodate
got
what comes
really
in.
Out on display.
Yeah, we are inundated. But we've got other things as well, sort of kits for things and crochet kits and embroidery kits.
And I'm going to do a little video to show you sort of some of the stuff that we do have. We did very much have an ethos when we opened, and we still continue to have that, is that we only work with, particularly with our yarn producers, small independent businesses, often owned by women like ourselves, people that we actually know the name of the owner and we can just have a chat with them. And so we don't have the big corporations, we don't have the Sardars and the Rowans and those sorts of yarns, and we only have natural fibre. So unashamedly, we only have natural fibre, and we're really proud of that, aren't we?
We don't really deal in acrylics at all. And we have a lot of British wool
as well. Trying to support the British wool industry and British wool producers and our farmers who are producing the flocks. And we really take an interest in learning a little bit about the people behind the brand. So that we can share that with our customers, because we know that's interesting. And I know you guys, when you've responded to the YouTube comments, have said that you really are interested in some of the provenance of the yarns and hear a little bit about the makers and why they started making. So we will be doing more and more on that as we move forward.
And the customers love it. They love to come in and squish and browse. Some ladies spend up to an hour and a half just browsing. They might not buy anything.
We have a sofa over there. One of the strategic things we did when we set up.
We do have a sofa where
was
people
to
can
get
sit.
a sofa mainly for husbands to sit.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. Some husbands do sit, to be fair.
And they bring the paper.
And some husbands are better knitters than their wives. Some of them
particularly socks.
During COVID, a lot of the ladies that really knitted well said, I taught my husband to knit socks because I thought I'll give him something to do. And one lady came in, she said, he's so much better than me. She said, I won't tell him. She's so annoyed that he can just pick it up, and if it goes wrong, he's really methodical. So, there are a lot of men that are really... We had a guy in to one of our... we have like a stitch-up meeting on a Tuesday morning, which really the ladies just come. We just make them a coffee, and they do their own thing. But we had a young man join them last week, the week before, and he's been a knitter since he was about 13. His dad taught him because his dad was in the Navy, and he found it was really good therapy for him to wind down.
And knitting started as a men's profession.
It was. The fishermen did it and things, didn't they?
And even further back, and the knitting guilds that still exist today were set up by men because it was seen as a business opportunity to produce knitwear. And then obviously in the World Wars, then the soldiers knitted their socks, and that's where the Kitchener stitch came from. So
the old Kitchener stitch.
Men actually do have a little bit of a march on us actually when it comes to knitting, but we do.
I think because especially if they work in a technical job, it's quite methodical. I mean, my youngest son is also quite technical, and for instance, if I have problems with anything, it always seems to be him that can just pick it up and sort it out, especially with my sewing machine.
I tried to teach my son.
And my overlocker is ooh, he's on it. If it goes wrong, I get Jamie in. It's the only way.
Neither my son or my daughter knit. Tried.
I think Abby will in the future, to be fair.
Maybe. Maybe, but not while she's got mum that can knit for her.
No, exactly. Why would you? I mean, our mum knitted for years, and so, in fact, we used to really want to have a shop-bought jumper, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because we got a bit fed up with knitted.
And we wanted to have jumpers like everybody else.
Hey ho.
Mind you.
Probably not now.
Yeah, mind you, in those days it was tank tops and
school jumpers. Is what
I recall. Horrible bright. I can't even wear that colour now. That horrible, either red, wasn't it, or bright blue. Horrible.
One of my school uniforms was navy, and I quite like that, and I've stuck with it over the years. But one was grey, and it was too grey for me. There you go. That's life.
Anyway,
things change, don't they?
Yeah. So we thought we'd I'd bring Sandra onto the channel just so that you can get to meet her. You will see more of Sandra in future videos when we're looking at things in the shop, I'm sure. So and
if you ever get a chance to come into Falmouth, please pop in and see us.
Yeah, I'm trying to show you bits of Cornwall as we go. So, but Falmouth is biased. We're biased.
It's beautiful.
Falmouth is beautiful, and Sandra did say she was the sewer, but she does knit too.
I do. Yeah. I'm just not an avid knitter. Like, I'm not crazy knitter like Jane, but I quite like a project on the go. But I enjoy sewing as much, if not more. So if I've got some sewing to do, and I've got a day to myself, which isn't very often, I think, yes, here I go. I'll go and do something. But I have to admit, just lately, it's been a bit lean on the ground because I just haven't had time. But I will get back to it.
I'm sure you'll get back to it.
Yeah, I met a lady this week that said, I haven't sewn since school. And I said, but do you remember what to do? She said, actually, I think I do. And I would like to get back into it. I said, well,
Funny
now's
that,
the time.
That's funny that, because I've got an automatic car. I've got an automatic car because my daughter, when she comes down from Edinburgh, borrows it because she likes to drive an automatic. And I haven't driven a manual car actually now for 3 years. And my neighbour, who's had a hip replacement, came up to me on Sunday and she said, Jane, would you take my car out and give it a good spin?
Run.
And it was an older car as well, so I was a little bit nervous. I got in, I thought, oh goodness, it's manual, what? And everything kicked back in.
Yeah, it does. It does kick back in. Absolutely. It's like riding a bike.
I didn't actually crunch the gears once.
You do. Actually, you quite enjoy it when you go back to driving manual for a little bit.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, it literally, body went into automatic.
It does. The thing is, I've chopped between, I usually always had the manual. My husband always had an auto because he did a lot more driving than me. But I could always hop between the two, and I can remember people saying to me, how do you do that? Don't you find it scary? And actually, no, once you're in that car, you sort of zone into what that car does.
Yeah, learned in a manual, so
yeah,
I drove one for 30 odd years, but it was just, it was
down
just
here,
that,
the hills, you just got to have auto.
and also thinking, because she had a manual handbrake and stuff as well, and I'd been used to an automatic, and with automatic, your handbrake sort of kicks in automatically just to start with, and then pulling away on the hill and whatever. It was the clutch,
Interesting.
It actually sort of made reflecting on actually sometimes these skills. It's surprising.
I think she would enjoy getting back to it, and she said, I really feel like I can make things, and I think today the patterns have adapted a little more. They're a bit more modern, some of them, not as tailored as some of the older patterns, but more forgiving for people to make and enjoy wearing. And it's always satisfying when you've made something that actually feels okay and you would wear it. That has been the problem in the past. You've made things and they don't really fit, unless you're doing it on a model and you're checking all your measurements all the time. And people get fed up with that and they think, oh, I can't be bothered.
Same with knitting, really, isn't it? You need to know your body shape, which, particularly as you get older, your body changes.
South.
Everything heads south, and you get lumps and bumps where you didn't have lumps and bumps.
I know.
But it's the same with knitting, really, because quite often I'm teaching people to knit who say, I haven't picked up needles for 30 years, and when they actually start, they know the techniques in knitting. What they don't usually or haven't done before is the new style of cast on, for example, like a long tail caster. So they've gone back to the traditional way, and some of them come with a needle stuck under their arm to knit, or have never knitted on circular needles, for example. So they'll know
techniques that makes it easier, definitely.
Yeah, so it's always they come and they learn a lot too, although they know how to knit and purl or rib, maybe.
Some of them are fantastic knitters, but they've never knitted in the round.
Yeah, it's a real
is it's something new.
Yeah, and we do teach people to knit on circular needles and knitting around, and we will be doing
sewing up. Why would you not? Really, sewing up is the worst bit, isn't it? Unless you really enjoy that.
Actually, we've had people come into the shop with all the bits and pay us to sew them up. And whilst I hate sewing up, if somebody's going to pay me to do it, it was the shop. And that reminds me, I've got some repairs to do for people that I haven't done yet. So not my favourite thing to do, but hey, that's part of being a yarn shop owner.
We don't do repairs for dressmaking either, just so everybody knows.
Just yarn.
Otherwise we'd have bags and bags and bags of stuff, because people ask nearly every day. We don't do that. But there are plenty of people out there that like to do it, and they usually do it from home because it's easier. But yeah, not my bag really.
No.
Can do it, just don't enjoy it.
Anyway, so I thought it would be nice for you to meet Sandra, and for us to share a little bit about the shop and our origins and our interests, and so be back into the rest of the Cornish Knitter in a moment.
Oh, look forward to that.
Yeah, let's get on with knitting content. Not masses of finished objects or works in progress today, because we've got other things to show you, obviously, as I said, about the shop, but I have finished something. So this was the DRK Everyday Cowl by Andrea Mowry. Many of you know that I'm a huge Andrea Mowry fan. In fact, the sweater, this wasn't on purpose, but the sweater that I'm wearing today is the Metamorphic sweater by Andrea Mowry, and I've knitted it in the Fibre company Arranmore Light, and then I just use a hand-dyed variegated merino double knit and it's a reverse stocking stitch, so you knit it inside out, and it has like a slip stitch seam. It's very similar, sort of this cowl here has a slip stitch as well that you can see that runs through it. She seems to like that design element to her patterns. This cowl was a super easy knit. She's got the pattern in a plain colour and also this, I hope you can see it, it's a sort of very fine stripe, and I've used 2 colours. So I used the Mrs. Moon Plump in Summer Pudding, and I haven't got the exact, because the other one was a Spectrum fibre that I had in my stash, but I was looking today and I thought this one by Pixie Yarns would be a good one to add to that, and it's called Betty. So I do like it. It's really easy. I've got the top, it's longer than this, I've got the top folded over because it is quite deep in terms of the neck, but I think it is meant to be folded over. I can see myself knitting quite a few of these in the future. In fact, my sister saw mine this morning and she was like, oh, I want to knit one of those, and she likes quite simple knits, so it will be a really good option for her, and it would be one that I'd probably recommend to some of our customers as a sort of simple first knit. You do knit it flat and then you join it at the back using mattress stitch. So yeah, super simple to do, and I'm really pleased with the outcome. I like the colour against my skin, and as I said, it goes quite well with this Andrea Mowry Metamorphic sweater as well. So yeah, I hope you like it. So last time I did talk about my fear of steeking. I had chosen a cardigan pattern to knit after much dithering. Yeah, I could dither for ages about patterns. There are so many great patterns, aren't there? So I did have a double knit yarn in mind, which was the Herd Blueface Leicester, which it all comes in natural colours, and I had that in mind, and I'd chosen a cardigan, and it was only once I decided on it and started to look at the construction that I realised that it was a cardigan that needed to be steeked. And I've never done it before. As I mentioned last time, you know, even with goodness knows how many years of knitting behind me, I'm always learning new things, and some of you made some fantastic suggestions. So things like pop the cardboard between the front layer that you're going to cut and the back layer. What a great idea. Whoever told me that, thank you. I'm definitely going to do that. Many of you shared your steeking stories, which were fabulous and gave me confidence that actually once I've done it once, I'll be fine and I'll be able to do it again, and not to worry too much about it, you know. And a number of you made some great suggestions about sort of tutorials and YouTube videos to go and watch to sort of learn how to do it. A number of you mentioned Arnie and Carlos. I do watch some of their vlogs, but sometimes I find some of their tutorial stuff a little bit difficult to follow. And somebody made a suggestion that I look at Katie Green, and I do follow Katie Green Bean, I think she calls herself on YouTube. Great really relaxed. She's a fantastic artist and designer and fibre artist. And so I did go on her YouTube, and I found that really, really easy to follow. And because she is an artist, she uses graphic designs to explain where you put the steeking stitches, how you reinforce it. And hers was the one that I really used and I've really found helpful. I haven't cut it yet. It's sounding like I've finished it, doesn't it? But I haven't cut it yet. But sorry about that. Telephone started ringing in the shop. We are closed. I am recording this after we've closed for the day. But if I go and sort of touch it, somebody will think I'm answering it, and then I'll have to spend time talking to them, and I didn't want to interrupt what I was saying to you. So, steeking. So this is the Hern cardigan by Kate Davis Designs. I've knitted it in the 4th size. I added just a little couple of rows in the border. You can see here, just to add some sort of a little bit of just something else to it, because I appreciate it's quite a neutral colour. I did want a neutral cardigan because I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it. So I've completely finished it, apart from a little bit of fluff. I need to graft the underarms together here and sew in the ends. And from steeking, what I've done is, I don't know whether you can see that there, in the centre, I had to run a thread through that centre steek line. I have a really bad astigmatism in my right eye. I've got what they called a lazy right eye. When I was a kid, I had that awful experience of having to wear NHS horrible glasses in those days. They were really horrible. And in those days, if you had a lazy eye, they used to black out the other eye in terms of put a cover over your glasses so that they felt it would strengthen the eye that was lazy. So I was that kid in school that had the horrible glasses with a patch over one eye. I really struggled, to be perfectly honest. And as I grew into adulthood, my eye sort of sorted itself out. I suppose the muscles became stronger around it. But as I've got older, particularly if I get tired, my eye will slip slightly. People have commented, helpful. People have commented sometimes, oh, you know, your eyes looking tired. But what it does mean is that I've got really bad double vision when I don't have my glasses on. I do close up, I'm fine without glasses, but I do wear glasses for anything a little bit further away. But with my double vision, I'm always sort of rechecking myself. So I thought for the steeking that I'd better sew just a cotton thread right down the centre, so that I knew exactly which line I was going to be cutting and which side I need, the other side that I needed to reinforce. And I've done a crochet reinforcement using a sock yarn, because many of you commented that make sure that I didn't use a non-superwash, a superwash yarn, and I've used a normal one with some nylon in as well, so a non-superwash yarn with some nylon. I am going to machine sew it as well, and before I cut, I've decided to pick up the button bands either side, because again, apparently that reinforces and keeps it stable when you're going to cut it. And I've got some ribbon which I may secure the steek edge back with, just to make it look nicer, but I'll decide, I think, once I've done it. But as you can see, I'm just I'd hope to have it finished, but I just run out of time. But I am about to pick up the button bands and knit those, and that's all I've really got left to do before I take my scissors and cut it. And I will share it with you next time. But yeah, I think I'm pretty confident that it will be fine. And thank you for all your reassurance, because that has really helped me think, yeah, that's going to be okay. The only other work in progress that I've got with me to show you today is, I mentioned that I was going to be doing the Andrea Mowry stripes sweater. I have done it before. I did it with it's a sport weight yarn pattern, and I did it with a quite rustic, very bright coloured but rustic sort of yarn. It was a blacker yarn, which again I mentioned in the video is a local yarn to us. It's a Cornish company, Cornish mill, spin their own fibres and dye it here locally, and we stock a lot of their yarn and we have a great working relationship with them. But this one I wanted to knit in sort of more spring-like colours. It's knitted from the top down. I hope you can see that I've picked sort of quite fresh colourways. I did have another colour that I was going to add into it, but when I put it with it, I felt it was too strong a colour. And I think this is going to be really pretty into spring. This base is so it's by Telling Yarns, Beth at Telling Yarns, and I am going to go back to her and see if she'll dye me up some kits for it. That's her label, Telling Yarns, and it is a blend of merino wool. It is 50% merino, 50% Surrey alpaca, so it's beautifully soft. Got a nice little bit of drape, so it'll be nice for spring and summer just to throw over. I did a cast on. I always, when I cast on, because I'm always worried about twisting my stitches on a circular needle when you cast on, I always actually cast on and knit one row straight before I join it in the round, and then when I've finished I go back and I will just, so it's got a little gap there, and I will just catch it and sew it together. But I did a German twisted cast on, which is what they recommend in the pattern, which gives you a super stretchy neck, which is nice. It's a German twisted cast on. It's one of those cast ons that I think I can remember how to do it, and then I think, oh no, I better go and check. And I always go and check. I like Very Pink Knits. I think she's really great at teaching different things, and I just went back on. As soon as I got into the rhythm of it, I was like, yeah, I can remember how to do that. And it is a superb one for anything that you want stretchy rib. It's nice and neat. So I did that. No modifications to this. As I said, I've knitted it before. I'm knitting the 4th size in this, in 5 colours. I did look at the sleeves, because last time I mentioned the last one I knitted sort of came to about there for the sleeves, and I'm not a lover of that because I don't like that sort of gap there. So I am going to knit it full length, but I did toy initially with knitting it with short sleeves. Being more mature, I'm not a lover of my upper arms. I do some, my daughter is a personal trainer, do a little bit of weight training in terms of trying to keep my muscles strong, but unfortunately it's also got a layer of fat over the top of it, and I just don't like that sort of bingo wing look, so I'll never wear sort of sleeveless or cap sleeved tops because I just don't like my upper arms. But I was thinking initially that I might do the sleeves to there, and then I thought actually that limits when I can wear it, because yes, of course I can wear it in the summer, but it's as soon as the summer's gone, it's, unless I want to put a cardigan over it, which sort of spoils the effect, then actually. So I'm going to knit it full length sleeves, just because it's a nice light wool, it's nice and soft, so I just think it will be something that I can use right through, you know, into the winter as well. So that was the other one that I'm knitting. I can't remember what else. Oh, a shawl. I was going to start the Buccaneer shawl. I've literally started about that much. Didn't think it would be very interesting for you to see, but I will show you that next time, because I will have done more. And I have got some socks on the go, but they are a bit of a surprise because we're running a sock club, and they are the next box. So and they are linked to a certain king getting crowned next month here in the UK. So the coronation happens on the 6th of May, and these are going to be our own design pattern, but they're the coronation sock. So I can't show those to you yet because we haven't revealed them to the subscribers of our sock club. Okay, So in the shop, I just wanted to go through some of the most popular yarns and just give you a sort of flavour of some of the things we sell the most and what people use them for. I mentioned earlier that, and this sweater is knitted out of this. One of our favourite yarns is something called Arranmore Light. It is by the Fibre company. We have it in about, in fact it's behind me, it's there behind me. We have it in about 13 colours. It's a lovely yarn, and it is 10% cashmere, 80% wool, 10% silk. So it has a nice drape to it, and it's not too thick. And apart from Camels yarn, I think this is our best selling yarn. And I think it's good for winter and for summer. And we have a few samples, and I haven't sort of got all of them here, but this is probably our most popular sample, which is knit in it. And this pattern, it looks totally different to the original design of the pattern, but this pattern is the Orcal sweater, which is a Kate Davis designs again. And if you look at her pattern and her photos, she's done it in natural colours. It's in brown and cream, and that's gorgeous. But when we were knitting up a sample, we thought, well, let's do something completely different. And this, we could have sold this sample, I think it's not an exaggeration to say, over 200 times. So many people sort of say, is that jumper for sale, or is that sweater for sale? And we're sort of saying no, because actually it sells so much yarn on the back of it. We only used one colour for the contrast, only one skein. I think the original pattern, the pattern design goes higher up, but we stopped at one skein so that it made it more economical for the customer, but a fantastic sweater. And that's, as I said, that's probably been our most popular yarn, apart from Hannah at the Camels yarn. Hannah came and spoke to us just after starting her yarn dyeing business. We'd not long moved into this bigger shop. We were really keen to work with Cornish small businesses like ourselves and support them. And she came in and we were just blown away with her colour palette. And we've continued to work. We stock most of her colours of yarn. If you haven't seen her, go and check out Hannah's website. It's called the Camels yarn. She's just very recently moved away from Cornwall, only just a few hundred miles up the road, still in the southwest of England, but still a Cornish girl at heart. And she does dye us up some bespoke yarns as well, and we have a wide range of her stuff. And this is one of our bespoke yarns, which is our best seller from her. This is in sock weight. We have it in DK, we have it in Surrey alpaca fluff. I've got it behind me actually, I don't think you can see it. It's there over my shoulder, in fluff. And this is called Falmouth Bay. And we're the only shop that you can get it in. People absolutely love this yarn. It's often, you know, if you go on holiday, don't you? I do it myself. I love to go into a yarn shop and look at something that I can get from there as a memory. Might not need it, you know, as we often say to our customers, needing it and wanting it are two very different things. So this is really popular, and this is it on a DK base. This is Merino base. She's got she's extending her range of bases, so she's got all of her yarns on a wide range of bases, but this is the only place you get this yarn. Another sort of very popular dyer for us is a lady called Sophie, who is Pixie Yarns. And Sophie, I'll hold that up to the camera. And Sophie is based in Somerset, which again is in the southwest of England. She came down here on holiday last year and she popped in to see me, and we had a good old chat. And I know her yarns are hugely popular. Again, check her out, Pixie Yarns. And she said, could she dye us up a bespoke yarn? I was like, yes, please, yeah, I'm always up for that. And this is Rockpool. This is it on DK, and again we've got it on fluff. So this is the DK version, this is the sock version, and she took her inspiration from the rock pools here on the beaches down in Cornwall. We again, whenever we get a delivery from Sophie, as soon as we get a delivery of yarn from her, it goes really quickly. So that's really popular. One of the things that I probably should say with Hannah's yarn, the Camels yarn, and the shop is dotted with samples that I knit. I sort of talked about in a previous video. One of the dilemmas for me is, do I knit for myself or do I knit for the shop? There are so many fantastic patterns that come out, and when we get a new type of yarn, it's sort of like, oh, I need to knit something to showcase that yarn, because that helps to sell it, and also it helps people think about what colours to put together. So I'm always knitting for one or the other, but quite often I knit for the shop, but with an eye to the fact that actually it might end up coming my way, or sometimes we do sell off our samples if people badger us enough. But this shawl is the pressed flower shawl, which is Amy Christopher's. I know I had the cowl on last time, didn't I? And I just love this pattern. But this is one of our most popular kits that we sell in the shop. And Hannah from Camel Yarns had put together, you can see all of that yarn, look at it. We've got sort of just different colourways in it. That's the colour I knitted it in, which is that colour is called Tintagel. This one here is, oh, what is it? It is Tutu. I thought that was a lovely soft pink. And then this is Marazion, which is a seaside town that's a little bit further down the coast from us. So we do put together kits, and they're really, really popular. But that's a luxury DK yarn, so it's got some alpaca in it, again, beautifully soft. Alpaca, merino and silk, so lovely. So that's one of our most popular kits. One of the other ones that I knitted, which we have sold loads of kits around this, and I've had to knit this 3 times because I knitted it for the shop, and then my mum wanted one, and then my sister wanted one. So this is the Nix shawl from Melanie Berg. It's a slip stitch pattern like the pressed flower shawl, so not a difficult one. Quite a nice one for somebody that wants to have a little go at colour work, but you're only ever holding one colour at a time, because it's called mosaic knitting. But it's super easy to do and really effective. And this is knitted in Pasquale Fila Natural yarn, but we put together kits for this. So they have a hand-dyed balayage, which is sort of a variegated colour, and then we put it with a plain colour. This is the one I knitted for my mum. So this was the sort of pinky bit you can see here, and the cream was the sort of blue over it. So I knitted this for my mum. Did I give it to her for Mother's Day? I might have given it to her for her birthday, actually, at the end of last year. But this is 100% alpaca, no, 80% alpaca, sorry, baby alpaca, and 20% merino wool. We've got it in so many colours, but we do, it depends what you want. That's a lovely autumnal sort of mix. And then, and this is another one I've knitted. I think I knitted this one for my sister. So just to show you, there's loads of variants, but those kits have been, I'm going to get warm. Those kits have been really popular. I also used it to knit up, and this has been a really popular little pattern for people to have a go at, which is the olive wrap. How sweet is that, huh? It's knitted in that beautiful, soft, fine alpaca, and again, lots of our customers have seen that sample and sort of said, oh, I really would like to knit that. So I think that's sort of just giving you a flavour of some of the yarns that we sell in the shop and some of the ones that are the most popular. I'm happy to talk about sort of some of our other British suppliers. As I said, we only work with the small British and a few overseas ones, mainly from Denmark is our only other country we tend to buy from, just because their yarns are stunning, and we love particularly Camerose yarn, we've had those from the outset. We do stock pattern books and things, and this one is one that's on my to-do list. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I quite like knitting toys and crocheting toys, but this is so sweet, and I'm gonna have a go at knitting, I think he's called Alphonse the pig. I'm gonna use the Yaku, which is a 4-ply from Camels. I think that's a really good pig colour. I haven't decided on his clothes yet, but I have looked at the pattern and thought, yeah, just looked at the construction. I mean, you knit on really small things. I loved a comment somebody made on the comments from the last video when I was talking about I like knitting on the shorty needles and the little shorties that that you use for socks and small circumferences, but I hate double pointed needles, never got on with them, and somebody made a fantastic comment and called them battling with a hedgehog or something. I totally got that, because that's how I feel. I feel all fingers and thumbs with them. I really don't like them, but I think I might have to use them for some of this pattern. So yeah, so that's mostly sort of my knitting. I've got loads of knitting plans, loads of things to do, but I thought it would be too much in this video to include all of those. So the only other thing I'm going to talk about is just very quickly talk about a knitting accessory that I really like, and going back to my sweater. Now, what have I done with that? Oh, have I put them away? No, I haven't. They're not in the tin anymore. I think I might be using them on another sweater. Oh, there we are. Totally confused. So the Barber cords, many of you might be familiar with them. When you've got to put parts of your knitting onto either spare thread, or they tell you to put it onto a spare needle, I think these Barber cords are absolutely superb. So you stick them, this is where my double vision comes in, I find it hard to see which needle I'm sticking it onto. So you stick them, because they're made of silicone, you can stick them really firmly onto the end, and then you can just slip your stitches very simply from your needle straight onto them, and they're nice and smooth, they don't catch. And then when you want to put them back on, to pick them up, you just slip them back. So these Barber cords are a game changer, really, and I really enjoy them. Using them. The tin's empty because they're on there. They come in different lengths, so you can use them if you're doing a top-down sweater and you want to try it on. You can put it all on a Barber cord, and they're nice and generous, and you can try it on without fear of everything slipping off your needles. So a great little accessory. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Slightly different. Tell me what you think, whether you liked it. I won't do every one from the shop, just because I don't, as I said before, I don't want you to think it's all about us selling maybe what we do. This is about me and my knitting and my crafting, but because so many of you are interested in it, that's why I've shared it this time, but happy to share it again, or if there's something you want to talk about to do with the shop or some of the stuff we've got in it, let me know. This time, as I said, I've just included a little clip at the end for those of you that want to see a little bit of my home and where the county in which I live. So I've recorded some footage of Tintagel on the north coast. I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe and comment, because this community is fabulous, and I really am enjoying that sort of interaction with people and hearing your experiences and your stories and from around the world. It's amazing. So it's why I wanted to have a go at doing this. So keep on doing it. Thank you, and see you next time.